says, happy Tuesday. A few minutes late because I'm trying to get the tech working. I wanted to go on live on Instagram as well, again, together. Oh, and I've got messages popping up from Facebook. So I think we are set here. I'm going to invite over Instagram, but I'm really looking forward to hanging with you today. I wanted to chat about the unspoken fifth part of my coaching framework that it's one of those things that just seems so intuitive and natural that I don't think we've really talked about it much in this group. And I think it's a really simple concept, but something that's just really powerful for closing your success loop and something to pay attention to in your business. And I wanted to share that with you. We're also a few days out from my wedding. I have to figure out, things have changed on Facebook. I'm going to actually pull up the Facebook group over here so I can see your comments because I realize I can't see them this way. But I'm about a week out, less than a week. I get married on Saturday, y'all. So I also wanted to do a fun giveaway in the group to celebrate, to thank all of you. There we go. It is working. To celebrate getting married, but also to thank all of you for being here and hanging with me. I've had this Facebook group for a long time now. I think we've been around for a couple of years. Some of you have known for a really long time. So I thought it'd be a fun way to celebrate by giving some things back to you. So I'm going to give away a free coaching session, which I don't do those anymore. I'm fully booked. I don't do single sessions. So it's a really great way to get to connect with you and get to support one of you. I'm also going to give away a free content that stands out and sells course of mine. So if you're watching now or on the replay, all you have to do to enter is comment, say hi. If you don't want what I'm giving you, don't worry about it. Comment anyway if you have comments to share. But if you comment, you will automatically be entered, and then we will pick someone on Wednesday. Let's say Thursday. We'll pick someone on Thursday, so you have till Thursday to comment, and we will make sure we get whoever wins the session, we get you access, and whoever wins the course, we get you access. So let me invite over my Facebook group, and then we will get this going. And I'm just seeing if we can make all this work properly tech-wise. I think we got this going though. So let's invite over Instagram, and then we will get chatting and going. Say hi, whoever's live. Hey, Instagram, how are you? Happy Tuesday. I've got Business Besties and Creative Bosses, my Facebook group, with me. We're going to do the joint live together. I am going to be chatting all about the unspoken fifth part of my coaching framework today, and something that I find is really simple and also often overlooked and not completely understood, and I want to dive into that a little bit because I find it a really valuable part of success and what creates success, but also what allows you to deepen your mastery in business. So we're going to dive into that. What I was telling everyone over in the Facebook group is we are doing a fun giveaway today. So a reminder, if you're watching here or on the Facebook group, I'm giving away a free coaching session, and I'm giving away one free spot to my self-study course, Content That Stands Out and Sells, as a way to celebrate. I'm getting married on Saturday, and I want to celebrate all of you. Hi, Stephanie. Nice to see you here. So if you do what Stephanie does, and if you say hi now or on the replay, I will pick someone on Thursday to win that free coaching session, and I will pick someone to win that course. We'll make sure we reach out and get that to you. So just a way to say there's no strings attached. If you don't want it, you can give it to someone else, but I want to celebrate my wedding, and this is a fun way to celebrate with all of you. Obviously, we'll have that coaching session when I get back from my wedding day, but I want to get back to this community and to all of you who have been here. So thank you all for being with me. Drop your hellos if you want to be entered in that giveaway, and then we will dive in. So, Stephanie says, yay for the wedding. Yay for the wedding. I know, I'm all like few days down. I also realized, y'all, what happens when you work from home? I'm like not even dressed properly today. Stephanie says fun. I think you mean for the giveaway and for the wedding stuff. And hey, all of you on Instagram. So fun to do the joint live. So let's dive in. Stephanie says, I'm so excited for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate and just love you so much. So let me pull up my notes here, because this is one of those, again, really simple concepts, but I think it's often overlooked. So I talk a lot about my coaching framework of clarity, mindset, strategy, and action. This is just what I've seen to be true over and over again for my clients and what I'm supporting them with behind the scenes. My clients get incredible results. They do everything from, 0 to 250K in a year to I've helped clients scale to $1 million plus working less. I've had help clients book their first clients ever, hit their first 10K, 20K, 50K cash months, and kind of everywhere in between. I work with clients at every stage of business from, never booked a client before to, again, scaling. And what I've just seen over and over again, and what we're working on is getting clear on what is that piece we need to pay attention to. And it's always clarity, mindset, strategy, and action. That is always what we are looking at. It is always one of those pieces. And I think that's just helpful to know, because if you're whatever stage of business you're at, if you're looking to create next level results, it's always just helpful to look at what piece is it that I need to pay attention to, and to make sure you're looking at that right part of the puzzle. It is by no means one size fits all. Y'all know that I am so not a believer of that, but it is helpful to identify, because what we so often do is, if it's say we love strategy, we'll just want to dive into the strategy piece, when sometimes it's a clarity question or an action question or a mindset question. So it can just help you identify what to pay attention to in your business. But what I have found, hey Jen, nice to have you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you on the Instagram. It's fun to have both. What I have found over the years, and I was thinking about, how I support my clients recently, I've realized there's another part of my coaching framework that it's one of those things that just seems so obvious and natural to me that I've never spoken about it, but it feels really important to bring here, because it's sort of like, I talk about mindset all the time, so I know that's something that if you're not always thinking about mindset, you're like, oh, this might be a lever, this might be something in my business I need to pay attention to. It's sort of the same thing there, and I want to bring this up because I find this unspoken part of my coaching framework is also what really closes what I call the success loop in business. I really believe clarity, mindset, strategy, and action, when you put those together, that's what creates results. And then it's this fifth part here that really helps you take those results and bring that around as a loop so you can continue to rinse and repeat. And without this fifth part, if we're not paying attention to it, it's easy to get confused. So hey, I just see a couple nice faces on here, so I'm so happy to see all the faces. Hi, Star, nice to see you. Star, you don't know what Jen, I don't know when you jumped on, but I think what you all don't know is I'm doing a giveaway between here on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm giving away a free coaching session and a free spot to content that stands out and sells for someone who's engaging, because as I think you know already, Star, I'm getting married on Saturday, so we're just in celebration mode, and I like to celebrate by giving gifts. So that's what we're doing, and I will pick winners on Thursday. I like to celebrate by getting to coach. So let me stop teasing this thing out. It's not super mysterious, but I do want to break down what this is and how it serves you in business, and a couple different ways to look at this, as well as how this supports not just your success loop, but how to leverage this and how it helps you deepen your mastery and stay out of perfectionism in business. And that is feedback. Feedback is that fifth unspoken piece. And again, it's one of those oh, feedback, Kim, really? Feedback is the thing. This is the magical, mysterious thing that's part of your success loop. But I really want to tease this apart, because if we think about what creates success anywhere in life, I was talking to my fiance about this. We were talking about, if we think about something outside of business, if you think about playing football or a sports team, right? What helps a sports team win games and really go into, the clearly not a football person, the championship, whatever the end football, like the Rose Bowl or something, that would be college football, right? When they're practicing, when they're working with a coach, this is literally one of the reasons I still work with a coach and pay my coach, and I'm so grateful for her support, is we're looking at things like clarity, mindset, strategy, and action all the time. But it is that feedback that is invaluable, that closes that loop. And without that feedback from an outside source, without that feedback from things like data in your business, without feedback, if you're a sports team, if you're just practicing, you're like, well, we are really clear on what our goals are. We, have our mindset on lockdown. We have a clear strategy. We are showing up and taking action and playing the game. If you're not adding in and integrating the feedback afterwards, it's sort of like, what's the definition of success? Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's the piece there where you get different results, because clarity, mindset, strategy, and action will absolutely give you a result. But it is that feedback from that result that goes back and reinforces and tells you, it reinforces that clarity piece and tells you, wait a second, is this all working, or is there something here we need to adjust? And that is where then you get to bring this loop around and turn it into a success loop to rinse and repeat, because suddenly you have really valuable data that supports your clarity or helps you adjust your clarity, which feeds into your mindset, which makes you feel more confident, which feeds into your strategy, which feeds into the action you're taking. And again, that allows you to collect that data and get that feedback and keep going, kind of keeping this as a loop, which is why I'm calling this a success loop. If you're avoiding feedback, and I think what happens so often for entrepreneurs is feedback feels really scary, and it feels like feedback can either be make them feel wrong, or like they're doing something wrong, or like they're going to have to burn something down, or the pendulum swings and it's almost like we're missing everything else, or we're just looking for feedback without first having the clarity, mindset, strategy, and action to get the feedback on. And either way, that's not supporting your success loop. What we really want to look at is how can we have clarity, mindset, strategy, and action, but then really pull feedback that is supportive and being mindful of where we're pulling feedback for, to reinforce that. And so I say this again because just check in with like, what side of the fence are you on? Because I find the pendulum really swings. Some people like earmuffs. I don't want to hear feedback. I don't want to hear anything. It's the football team that doesn't want to look at the replays. You know how football teams will look at after a game, they'll look at their plays. The football team that doesn't want to look at that, and it's like, we just want to keep doing the same thing we've been doing over and over again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That will only get you so far, right? That's one side of the fence, like earmuffs on. But then the other side, if you're feeling maybe insecure, you're feeling like you're not good enough or you don't know enough, I think the opposite can be, we're not even going to go out and practice. We're just going to look for all the feedback. We just want to hear all the feedback that we have the right team players, that we know what we're doing. And we're not even going to go out and play the game until we have all the feedback. What I really like to remind clients, and what we talk about, is feedback comes after taking action, right? We want, like, it's so helpful and useful to take that messy action, to show up and to run at your action, right? To pick a strategy and stick with it, absolutely. And to take that action, but we can't really get feedback until action has been taken. And so I offer this again because feedback is a really funny thing that people kind of resist or look for. And if you're resisting it, that's a form of sabotage and wanting to hide and kind of like, I don't want to deal with things. But if you're just looking for feedback, sometimes it's also a way of hiding from taking action. And we want to look at really what's more of that, like letting the pendulum swing to the middle ground. Where can feedback be such a beautiful, powerful lever in your business that really reinforces the success loop, that doesn't have you burn everything down, that's not coming from a place of everyone knows better than me, or I need to wait to have this until I take action, but also how can this really reinforce my action and help really support my clarity to move this cycle through? Let me know if this is making sense, or if you have questions about just the general concept here. I also realize, because we're going live on both, I need to plug in my computer. Otherwise, Facebook, I'm going to lose you. So let me do that. Instagram, don't mind me for a moment. Let's see if we can plug in and get a little juice there. So one of the things I think about with feedback that I think is really helpful to understand is this isn't just like, oh, Kim's fun idea of like feedback is a fun fifth unspoken part of her coaching framework, or this is what she seeks out, or this is what she's doing all day with clients. It's literally what I'm doing with coaching clients all day long, whether I'm editing a piece of content for them or we're on a call. If you think about what a coaching conversation is, it's pretty much all giving feedback in some form. But if we look at the concept of deliberate practice and what has been shown to create mastery, and if we look at work like Angela Duckworth's work around grit, I don't know if any of you know her. She did grit, and she has a great TED talk, and she wrote Grit, the passion and perseverance, or perseverance and persistence, I think, towards passion, ongoing goal. But she is sort of the queen of grit, and she talks all about really what goes into, if we look at what creates success, so much of what creates success is that grit mindset, and a lot of that has to do with the growth mindset. And if we look at what creates mastery, if you're looking at people who are masters in their field, and if you are here and you're a business owner, right, and if you're seeking income, impact, serving clients really well, if you care about your work, if you're craving success on a new level, part of what you're looking for is mastery. We did do a live stream on this, I'll have to link to it, but where I talked about mastery is really it's sort of like, if done is better than perfect, what's better than perfect? I think perfectionism is a way high performers, high achievers can sabotage and get in their own way. Mastery is really a great antithesis for perfectionism, because mastery is something we never arrive at. We're always in the process of deepening our mastery, and it's really what serves you in business, and it really is what serves your growth. And mastery, there's actually a process and framework for mastery that includes deliberate practice. And deliberate practice, really the last tenet of deliberate practice, is immediate feedback in the moment. And it is part of when they look at musicians, or when they look at artists, when they look at people who are really masters of their craft and they break down how they've created and deepened that mastery in their work, which I know if you're here, again, this is not about perfectionism, it's quite literally the opposite of perfectionism. If you look at what that is, most people, ex-actors here, right? If we look at actors who are really in their craft and have deepened their mastery around that, unknowingly or knowingly, they're often doing what is called deliberate practice, which is really this idea that talent isn't enough, and that this is what grit is so much about, right? A growth mindset is the opposite of a fixed mindset that really thinks you're just sort of like born with it, and that what your skills are, like kind of that's what you've got. And if we think about business, so much of business is growth oriented, right? Growth mindset oriented, not fixed mindset oriented. It is not, I talk about this so often with sales. Sales is not a skill necessarily you're born with. Marketing for many people is not a skill that you just like wake up as a kid and you're like, I'm a marketer and a salesperson, right? These are skills that we can grow and deepen and create mastery around, just like our crafts. And so when we look at deliberate practice, it's really this idea that talent isn't enough, and it's really not about kind of the Maybelline, like maybe she's born with it, maybe he's born with it. It's more practice, and deliberate practice is really that differentiator that helps you grow and that helps you expand and that helps you scale. And I'm really mindful here because we talk also a lot about ease in business and kind of less is more. I talk a lot about slow is fast. And so what I want to offer here is deliberate practice is not about burning out or pushing and grinding, but it is a very intentional type of practice, an intentional way of showing up. And it really follows the clarity, mindset, strategy, action framework. And it really is the difference between good to great. We talk about that so often here. And it is that practice, but that deliberate practice, which isn't deliberate practice, the really big differentiator there is that feedback. It's not just doing something repetitively over and over again. It's doing something with focus, with a goal attached to it, which we often have in business, which a sports team would have, right? What is that goal? Having focused, deliberate time, that deep focused work, where it would be hard work, but not in that pushing, grinding way. It's more that focused, intentional work with that goal setting. And then that end piece there is that feedback in the moment. The example I sometimes give with this is with cooking. If anyone, it's kind of the idea of with cooking, I could say I have probably spent 10,000 hours in my lifetime cooking. I have definitely watched a ton of cooking shows. I am by no means a great cook. I am by no means someone who should be like, you should come over for dinner. I definitely wouldn't say I'm a master cook and that this is something you should hire me for, because I have not deliberately practiced my cooking, right? I sort of do the opposite of what we're talking about here. I just kind of rinse and repeat and do the same thing over and over again when it comes to cooking. Maybe I watch a cooking show, maybe I try something new here and there, but I'm not deliberately practicing. I'm not using the clarity, mindset, strategy, and action feedback loop to improve and to deepen my mastery of cooking. So my quality of cooking stays pretty much the same. It's fine, I can feed myself, but like, I'm not gonna be like, let me host you a beautiful meal. Let me start selling my recipes. Let me, say I'm a master at cooking. If I wanted to deepen my mastery of cooking, the same way if we want to grow and scale and deepen our mastery in our work and increase the results we're getting, the piece that's really missing there is that deliberate practice. And part of that is that intentional focus when we show up, which is so much of the clarity, mindset, strategy, and action, right? Not just phoning it in or checking it off like it's a checklist off a checklist item, and really bringing in that intentional focus. But it's then closing that loop out with feedback, and ideally feedback in the moment. So hopefully that gives a little context there. Star says yes, makes total sense. Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you for the feedback. Hey Marie, nice to have you live. So nice to hear. And Stephanie says she's deep on some things. I have to listen and then go back and re-listen. LOL. Oh, I love you for saying that. So that's really the idea here, and the reason I think feedback is so important for all of us as business owners to think about, because I think sometimes in our online space, the messaging tends to look a little bit more like, you should just show up online and everything should be super easy and you should just get results in 5 seconds and you should never have to pay attention to anything and you just follow these 3 things and then you're done. And what I want to offer is, yes, business can feel easy. And the more you lean into deliberate practice, ironically, and the more feedback you get, the more effortless it can feel. And usually that ease comes on the other side of things that don't feel so easy in the moment, which I feel like I talk about so often. And that deliberate practice and that feedback is so much a part of that. And when we think about what really business is all about, and when you look at large businesses and what they're doing all the time, a lot of what they're doing is creating a hypothesis. I know we've talked about this before, treating your business like a scientist, coming up with a hypothesis in your business, creating a hypothesis, and then going out and testing that hypothesis, right? Clarity, creating that clarity around a hypothesis, getting your mindset, this hypothesis, I believe it will work. I am fully behind it. I am going to work this till it works. Strategy, getting a clear strategy around that hypothesis to go out and test it, and then taking action to test it. But if you are a scientist and if you're testing something and you're treating your business like a business, part of that is then collecting data on the other side of your test. And that data is really your feedback. And again, I say this because I think so often in business, especially in our space, in the personal development space, sometimes we want to resist treating our business like a business. And we almost want to think data is this horrible, bad thing. And look, I am the least data-driven person. I'm not looking at numbers all the time. We don't get super, I'm much more an intuitive-based business person, and I base a lot of the data. I think data can also be intuitive, right? I get data from client feedback. I get data from all of you here on live streams. I get data from many ways, not just looking at numbers, but numbers can also be data. But all of that is all feedback that really informs, again, that success loop in your business. And I say that again because I think sometimes we just pendulum swings, and we either want to get all data heavy and we don't even know what we're looking at when we're looking at that data, or it swings and we just don't want to look at any of the data or feedback. And I want to just offer that really what we're doing as business owners is we are always testing. None of us know the answers in advance, right? We're always testing, and we're always looking for feedback through data of some sort. Again, data can come in different forms. It doesn't have to all be data on a spreadsheet. And that is what really allows you to be an informed business owner. And the more you can embrace that and see that as a part of the success loop, not the whole thing, but as a part of it, and as a part that comes after taking action. So often clients come to me and they want the data on the backside of action, right? That's what we were talking about, like the football team that just wants to know their strategy is going to work before they go out into the field. And I'm always reminding clients is the data comes after you take action. None of us know. None of us have a crystal ball. That's why we're testing. We're going to make it informed. We're going to get clarity, strategy, and action. We're going to get an informed decision and then go and run at that and take action. But we want to then look for that data to see what we need to really refine on the back end. And so being mindful of that, because again, so often we want to either resist getting that data and feedback and like la 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 la, which doesn't serve any of us in business, or we want to wait to have the data and evidence and on the front end of results, and that it just doesn't work that way. And the results are really a part of that data and evidence. So I think that makes sense, but y'all have to let me know. Marie, let me know if you have any questions on this. And it feels important to say because I see people hopping on now. We're doing a giveaway, so say hi. Just give me a thumbs up or anything here. Any comment will do, and you will be entered in to win a free coaching session or a access to my course content that stands out and sells. We're celebrating my wedding this weekend, and I like to celebrate with gifts. Gifts are my business love language. Hey, Craig, nice to see you. So just say hi, and that will enter you in automatically. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions there about the success loop there or about the hey Craig, thank you. Thank you for the emojis. You were automatically entered by doing that. So all of those count as entries, and we will pick, for anyone watching the replays, we will pick winners on Thursday. So you have until then if you're watching on the replay as well. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to share here, so why I think this, I'm just seeing here my notes here, what I want to offer with the feedback loop here, and when we're looking at the feedback part with your data is, and I think what's really important with feedback is also remembering feedback is not created equal. So here I'm talking about, this is the unspoken fifth part of my coaching framework and how important this is. This is literally what I'm supporting clients with all the time. I think it is part of, again, why I pay for coaching, why I work with my coach, what I find is invaluable from her support, because I always say I can't see the spinach in my own teeth. I need a mirror. I need that support. I need that feedback, right? A mirror is feedback. I need a coach, just even though I am a coach myself, that feedback is invaluable. But what I want to offer here, because we're talking about how important this is as a part of that success loop, as a part of that deliberate practice, as a part of deepening that mastery, is seeing that feedback is not created equal and data is not created equal. And so there's really two parts there that I want to close on. So in terms of feedback is not created equal, what I really want to be mindful here to say with feedback is to be mindful of where you're sourcing your feedback from. And if we use the mirror example, right? If I want to see if I have something in my teeth, I really want to make sure I'm looking at an accurate mirror and that I'm not looking at one of those funny clown mirrors when you go to, when you go to the amusement park and they have like all the clown mirrors, and it can really skew the feedback you get. But if you believe that weird warpy mirror is truth, or if you're looking in an air quotes fat mirror that adds 5 pounds or whatever that is, and you think that is a representation of accurate feedback, and that's what you're taking in to reinforce that success loop, that's really going to alter what you then put into your clarity mindset strategy and action. Feedback is not created equal. There are so many clown, what do they call them? They're not clown mirrors. They're the, what I'm talking about, the like wavy mirrors. There are so many mirrors like that in our online space. And so I really want to invite you to be very mindful of the mirrors you're looking into and the places you're sourcing your feedback from. Feedback is absolutely important. That data is absolutely important. But again, it is not created equal. And it is your job as a business owner. I talk a lot with clients about prioritizing and protecting their peace, protecting their mindset, protecting what they allow into their thought process, protecting what they listen to, protecting what they allow into their brain. But the same is true for feedback. And especially depending on where your mindset is in, it's really easy to go source feedback that is literally a self-sabotaging action of going somewhere where you're going to get feedback that tells you not to do the scary thing, or that tells you you suck, right? That is that clown mirror. Star says such good advice on where to get the feedback. Funhouse mirrors. Yes, exactly. It is the funhouse mirrors, right? So if, for example, I see this all the time, people will want to look for feedback and they'll go into a Facebook group and they'll drop something in there. Either they're feeling insecure, right? And they want someone to boost them up, or they're trying to get feedback on maybe a strategy of theirs. And the feedback they're getting, even if it's well-intended, it is essentially a funhouse mirror, because you have to imagine the people responding know nothing about your business goals, know nothing about your vision, know nothing about the clarity mindset strategy and action behind that, right? They may or may not be your ideal clients. They may or may not have the same mindset you do. They could be coming from so many different places. And so that feedback is really going to be a bit funhouse mirror-like. And it would be very easy to take all of that and have that spin you out, or to have you feel like this is a horrible idea. I've used this quote before. It's the Henry Ford, has a quote where he said, if I asked my people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? If Henry Ford cars, if he had gotten feedback from the people he was currently serving, his audience, they would have told him, their feedback would have been, we want faster horses. And I think we have to remember our job as business owners are to be the experts in our field. It's not to crowdsource data and opinion. We have to remember where we get feedback from. And if Henry Ford had gotten feedback before clarity, strategy, action, and mindset, before taking action, before creating the car and putting it out there, that would have been a funhouse mirror. That would have we probably wouldn't have, or he probably wouldn't be an famous automobile manufacturer. So I think that's something to be very, very mindful of. Feedback, absolutely important. That immediate feedback, such an important part of a growth and grit mindset, and of that deliberate practice that creates mastery, that allows you to grow and scale. And mind your mirrors. Those funhouse mirrors are everywhere. One of my personal rules of thumb is I only source feedback from people who have intimate knowledge of my business and my goals and my mindset, really that other piece of the coaching framework, right? The clarity, mindset, strategy, and action. I'm very mindful to source feedback from outside sources other than that. So that feels very important there. Hey, Chelsea, nice to see you. All right, let me just see here, Facebook. Stephanie says dropping for feedback. That's so true. But yes, so many coaches will tell you to do exactly that. I'm so happy you are you. You are you. Oh, I love you, Stephanie. Thank you. Yes, and again, there are times to pull for. I am not saying don't do market research. Market research is a form of feedback. There are absolutely times market research is invaluable. I don't know how many calls for market research, but market research was not me dropping into a Facebook group. Like that was being very mindful of what kind of feedback I was getting. I was getting on the phone with people who would be a really great fit for coaching, and either offering free coaching or doing market research to get information for them. Market research, absolutely valuable. Polling, who knows who, where you don't know where is on the other side. We just want to be mindful of what that data can be very, very skewed. So not by no means saying that doing market research is a bad thing. I want to be very mindful there. Market research can be very powerful, but just be mindful of where you're sourcing your feedback from. The other piece here that feels really important to say with the feedback part, when we're looking at data as a feedback. So like we were saying earlier, data doesn't just have to be numbers. The numbers can be very important. Data tells a story, but just like your brain tells stories all the time, we have to be mindful of what stories your brain is telling you, right? We talk about this with mindset so often. The stories our mind tells us. What story are we making about something? I think as coaches, we talk about what are we making something mean, right? This is something we talk about a lot with mindset. Data tells a story. And what I want to offer here is being mindful of the story you are creating from data, and being mindful that you are taking the feedback that is actually useful and not creating a limiting story from your data, because that is very, 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 very easy to do. And so with that, let me break that apart because I'm giving you a lot here. Data comes in many forms. It can absolutely be numbers, but remember, data is also for my intuitives, for my people who are creatives, for my people who are feelers, right? I get data all the time from people on calls. When I'm coaching someone, in the moment, whether it is consciously or subconsciously, I am getting data and feedback as to what someone may or may not need on that call, right? So that is data as well. That is a part of your success loop as well. So seeing that data can be more than one thing. And then data can also be numbers. Again, I'm not someone who gets super, super into the numbers, but we absolutely look at that in my business. We're just very mindful of the story that data is telling us, and making sure we're looking at the story and the feedback that serves what we need in business. It is very easy. We'll use, I've definitely talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. It is very easy, for example, to look at the data and the feedback on a post you post in a Facebook group, and to look at the data in terms of, okay, here are the number of likes this post got, or here's the reach this post got, and to look at that feedback and say, well, the feedback says this post only got, 20 likes, and I have a huge Facebook group, and so therefore this story I'm going to make is that this must mean my audience doesn't like this content, and that this post didn't perform very well, or maybe I need to do a different kind of content. And let me compare this to the other data of, I just posted a reel and my reel did so much better, and so that data tells me, right, I should do all reels and forget this other kind of content. And the reason I'm bringing this here is, if we just look at the surface story that data is telling you, that might appear true, but it misses the rest of the feedback that data might be telling you, which is why I think it's very important to really be mindful of the story and to really look at the story your data is telling you. I know, for example, if I look on Instagram and I look at how my posts are performing, the immediate feedback and story I could look at is exactly what I'm telling you here. But I also know, I have more data than that, and I also know, kind of when we go back to the deliberate practice framework, part of deliberate practice is having that's why we have clarity, right? What is the goal that you are driving in your business? Part of deliberate practice is, what is that goal? Having a clear focus and goal. With your marketing, it's the same thing. I'm always chatting with clients about what is the focus of their marketing. I know the focus of my marketing is conversions to coaching clients. I happen to know that while my reels might get far further reach and might perform better, and it doesn't mean they're not a strategic part of my strategy, that they're not a great part of my strategy, that some of those other posts that don't perform as well are actually where my conversions come from. And I know because I get the data in form of people book calls with me and they hire me and they tell me this, and so I have been privy to that data. And I say that because it would be so easy to look at one data point and create a story and create feedback, and then to go through that success loop I don't want to change everything up and to stop posting the posts that aren't performing as well and to only do reels, for example, and to miss a big part of the data and feedback there, which is these are really working together. But if I look at, again, what is my goal, when we look at the deliberate practice piece there and that immediate feedback, really seeing how there are multiple data points that tell a story. And so I say that here because we're talking so much about feedback and the importance of data and those different kinds of data. And I want to offer just to be mindful when you're looking at data, not to get stuck on one data point and to kind of miss the data forest for the trees, and to be mindful of the story you're telling yourself with your data, and to make sure you're telling the story that is really accurate to the goal of your marketing or to the goal of your business, because it's very easy to create data stories that might be true but not true for your specific goals in business. Hey, I see friendly faces over here. We're doing Instagram, Facebook joint live, so y'all will have to let me know how you like that. And everyone should know here, because I told everyone this earlier, but we're doing a giveaway because I'm getting married this weekend, and gifts are my love language. So if you say hi here on Instagram or on Facebook, I'm going to pick a winner between the two for a free coaching session or for content that stands out and sells my self-study course. So, and if you don't want it and I give it to you, you can give it away to someone else. But we're doing giveaways because giveaways are fun, and why not? So the last thought on the feedback piece there, and when you're looking at data, again, is just to be very mindful and seeing this as it's not just like the coaching framework when we talked about at the beginning of the call here. When I'm working with clients, we're really looking at this as a whole, as pieces that work together, and seeing what's the piece we need to look at to help them get results. And not just looking at one piece in isolation. They really all work together. And so feedback is a part of that, right? We want to, and same thing when you're looking at data and seeing how this all works together, instead of getting so locked into just one thing. We don't want to only mindset our way through business, just like we don't want to only feedback our way through business without the clarity, mindset, strategy, and action. And then the same thing there when you're looking at data. We don't want to just look at one data point and kind of miss the data for the forest trees. Really would be mindful. It's kind of like the fun house mirrors we were talking about earlier, is just being really mindful of checking when you're looking at that data for feedback, that you're really looking at the feedback that is in alignment to your personal business goals. I was actually talking about this with a client earlier today, how easy it is in the online space, because we just see what everyone is doing and we have so much modeled for us, which can be really beneficial, but it can also be really confusing sometimes, because oftentimes we're just seeing someone's action in play, and even if we're seeing someone's strategy in action in play, we're not always privy to what their business goals are or what the clarity and mindset piece behind that is. And so it can be very easy to hear things about how to interpret data, right? You could hear what I just said about the reels and the Instagram post, and you could be thinking, oh, maybe that's true for me as well. But you might have a very, very different business model than me. You might have very different business goals than me. And so the complete opposite might be true for you in terms of strategy, but also when you're looking at the data and what you're making that mean. So the point there is not do this kind of post, don't do that kind of post, or how to, it's really being mindful of the story you're creating from your data. Data does tell a story, but we want to make sure we're telling the story that serves your personal goals in business, your personal business model, which is where I think getting support can be really, really beneficial, because you can have someone who knows your business and can really help you take a look at those pieces, instead of just getting, what our brains often want to do is we want to have it tell the story that matches with how we're currently feeling or our personal biases that we want to prove as true, because it's just the way the brain is designed. All right, so I'm just seeing if we have any questions here. I think that was all pretty clear, but my computer's also worrying me, y'all. This is that's not a good thing. I think it's not liking me going live on both at the same time. But let me know if you have any questions about that now or on the replay around the feedback piece and how you're feeling about that. I'll do a quick recap here, and then I will let you all go before I head off to Wedding Land. I'll see you. We won't have a live next week. We'll have some fun replays going out. I will see you all the following week after that, because I'll be off for a honeymoon. I haven't missed a live. We've been live every week. I don't think we've missed a live in like 2 years or something like that because of COVID. So I will miss all of you so much. But just as a recap here, what we were talking about is really and truly every kind of success you're going to create, whether that is on the football field playing a sport or in your relationship or in business, really what is behind it is that clarity, mindset, strategy, and action. That is what I'm supporting clients with all the time. We want to be mindful of how these pieces play together. But that unspoken fifth part that really closes that success loop, that really reinforces it, is that feedback piece. Feedback is so powerful. Being open to receiving feedback, I really think, is what differentiates people from successful people, from people who are spinning their wheels. It's really what keeps you out of the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It is what I give my clients are so brave because they show up to calls all the time. Being coached, I think, is not an easy thing, right? When you're getting coached, you're showing up vulnerably and you're asking for feedback and you're asking for someone to hold up the mirror that you may or may not want to see. You might want that funhouse mirror, right? You're going to have someone hold up a mirror to you. So this is what my clients are opening themselves up to every day. And I think they are just so incredibly brave, but it's also why they get the results they do, because they're really open to not just the digging into the clarity, mindset, strategy, and action, but they're really open to that feedback piece, which allows them then, when they have that data, when they have those results, to really reinforce that success loop and to really be able to deepen that mastery with that deliberate practice we were talking about. So my invitation to you is to really look at where can you be open to feedback? How can you leverage feedback and deliberate practice to really deepen into your mastery for business and that growth mindset and that grit mindset instead of perfectionism, which spins us all out. And then again, just being really mindful of the type of feedback you're getting. Feedback is not created equal. Be mindful of where you're sourcing that from in those funhouse mirrors out there, and the own funhouse mirrors you might be giving yourself, so that you can really take in feedback that, again, supports that success loop, supports the goals you have for yourself in business and your business model. I hope that was helpful for you. The other thing I will say, we are fully booked, but I am opening up coaching spots in November and December. We're filling coaching spots for the end of the year. We might be able to open up an intensive in October. We'll see how that plays out. Otherwise, we are booking. We have, I think, a few spots pending on renewals for the end of the year. So if you're interested in getting feedback from someone who's really invested in your business success, your business goals, your version of success, making money on your terms, if you're interested in having someone support you with the clarity, mindset, strategy, and action that goes into building, growing, and scaling a profitable business in a way that really feels in alignment and feels good for you and feels sustainable, that is what I do. That is what I support my clients with. I love my people. It would be an honor to support you if that feels like something you are called to. I will drop a link for a discovery call, which we'll have to book after my wedding, so we can chat in October. And even if you're not sure if it's a fit or not, I'm very open. I have a ton of clients who are incredible coaches. So if it's not a fit, I will absolutely point you to someone else. Will make sure you get pointed and hooked up in the right direction. So book a call even if you're not sure, and we will get you set up with one of those remaining spots. And then either way, I will make sure Thursday we reach out with the winners for those giveaways for the free coaching session and for content that stands out and sells. And then I will miss you all. I'm going to miss you next Tuesday, but I will be back the following week. We are doing, I already know our topic. We will actually be chatting a bit about, because I'm unplugging completely for the week for my honeymoon, we'll be chatting a bit about the mindset and some of the planning that went into setting up the business in a way where it can run like a well-oiled machine while I am gone, and just some of the pieces that have gone into play there. So we'll chat about that. Gosh, I don't even know what the date of that is. Whatever the Tuesday is after next Tuesday. So I will see you all then. Love you all so much. Thank you for hanging with me and being here. It always means the world to me. If you have questions, drop them in the comments, and I will see you all then. And this is always the tricky part. I have to I always feel like I'm hanging up two phones. Bye, Instagram. We'll end here, and then Facebook. I love you, besties and bosses.